Well, welcome to this edition of Noon Knowledge. We're excited today to welcome Alex Veach. She joined Letterpress in 2020 as a creative consultant and quickly rose through the ranks of the organization, serving as an account executive and then later as creative director before being named CEO in 2024. Prior to joining Letterpress, she was Deputy Director of Community and Economic Development at the town of Marion, Virginia. She's been Director of Communications at Highlands Community Services, has served as an Assistant Park Manager at Hungry Mother State Park, and Associate Director of First Year Admissions at Emory and Henry University. This graduate of Emory and Henry majored in mass communications, religion, and public policy and community service. I remember her as a student during her time there at Emory and Henry when I was there as well. She was very passionate about marketing, graphic design, and building relationships and community traits, all of which she uses daily in her career and profession today. So, our program is one of a series that will be presented in coming months by Letterpress on marketing and communication that helps businesses and nonprofits be successful. So today's program is on content that converts, how to sell your product or promote an event with Reels, which is certainly a timely topic of interest. So please welcome Letterpress CEO Alex Veach.
Thanks for having me, Mark. And thank you all for joining today. Just know that this is being recorded, so you'll have an option to see it on YouTube. And then we'll also be sending out the slide deck afterwards, which has some links that you can take a look at some real examples that we have in here. If you have just joined, feel free to put in the chat who you are and what you do and what you're excited about today. Also, this time is really meant for you. So if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand, put it in the chat. I'll try to monitor that. Mark and Jean, if you could help monitor that as well. But yeah, raise your hand and feel free to ask questions as we go through. The goal today, because we have people of all kinds of skill levels in here, is we're going to talk about why Reels. We're going to talk about how to be grabbing good content. And then we'll dive into Canva just a little bit and show you some of the opportunities for editing within Canva. So without further ado, this is content that converts promotion with Reels. Like I said, put in the chat who you are, what you do, and does anybody have a favorite Reel type? Feel free to put that in the chat if you have a favorite that you'd like to discuss. Mark said, I am Alex. I'm the CEO of Letterpress Communications. We are a full service communications firm that does what we call community powered marketing. So our goal is to make sure that you are leveraging the power of your internal team and your external community before ever paying for advertising. We are a full-time team of 10 people. We have offices. We were founded out of Farmville, Virginia, and have an office in Marion, Virginia. So about half of our team is in Southern Virginia and half is in Southwest. Some of the examples we have in here are some of our favorite examples from local businesses in the Abingdon area. All right, so why Reels? We were talking about this as we were getting started, and it's all about the video right now. We are a very visual society, and we have moved away from photography and into videography. So the biggest thing with Reels is that it's all about the algorithm. It's all about the money. We kind of joke that Mark Zuckerberg's a bit of a swear word in our office, but he wants your money. So Meta, the whole goal is to keep people on the app, and videos are engaging and they're keeping people online and watching more. So, I mean, how many of you have just doom scrolled at the end of the day? Just watching reel after reel after reel. So this is why Meta in particular, and we'll talk a bit about Meta. You can be putting your reel content on YouTube. You also can be utilizing it on LinkedIn, even on your website. We won't talk a lot about TikTok today. TikTok is its own unique animal. It is like a full-time job, and it is a bit of an unstable platform. We keep going back and forth with what's happening on TikTok. So for most of our clients they're small organizations, small teams. So we really encourage you to be consistent and to do quality work on platforms that are stable. And Meta, Facebook, and Instagram is that at the moment. Oh, yes, cats. We will talk about cats. We'll talk about animals. We'll talk about faces. It is not called Facebook for no reason. So people want to see faces. They want to see animal faces. That counts too. So for one, you need video to be strong in the algorithm on social media platforms. Two, our engagement and attention spans have gotten so small. One of the examples I have later is a bit of a longer reel. It's got great videography in it, but it is actually a bit too long. The ideal range for a reel is about 30 seconds. And we have some clients that even say that 15 seconds is their sweet spot. So that really just shows how short our attention spans have gotten. You also have the chance to go viral. I mean, it's not going to happen to everybody, but you have that chance. The more content you're creating, the more likely it is to happen. So, the more video content you're putting out there, the higher chances you are to have it seen and to have it seen by a very wide audience. And then the power of video, there's a relatability factor. I've talked to a lot of people about this recently. And in fact, I've been managing the Southwest Virginia American Advertising Awards for several years. And we have a company that enters in video work every year. It is very high quality. But they actually won gold for their more casual content this year. And so what has happened, actually in the judging process, the judges said their videos are great, but this is what we expect of a company like this. The casual content, the funnier content, the reels were a fresh take for their industry. And that is what actually won them golds over top of their highly produced video. So that's the beauty of what's happening right now is this casual content that is relatable. It feels authentic. It shows who you are and what you're doing in a real way is the video work that is doing the best in reels right now, which means anybody can do it. Moving along, planning and preparation. This is the biggest part. It's not like you can just sit down and say, I'm going to make a reel today, and just sit at your computer and do something. You have to have video content that you've actually created. So by planning and preparing well, you can create good video reels. There it goes. So the biggest things, define your goals. And this really comes down to who is your target audience. And so we've done several videos for Noon Knowledge. So check out YouTube, and there are some foundational ones that help you work through who are your target audience. And really that is who is your best customer and how can you reach them? And all of your content, whether it's written or visual, should be reaching out to that target audience. So you might be a nonprofit and you're reaching out for new donors. You might be a small business and you're trying to get new customers. But again, who are you trying to reach with this video? What is the goal of it? Having a hook is important. So having that clearly defined, this is the theme of what I'm doing. Here's what I'm trying to do, and here's how I'm gonna hook people in very quickly. It's just like writing. If anybody is a writer and has written press releases, we write in the inverted pyramid style. The most important information goes at the very top. And that should be the bulk of what you're doing. So that should be the hook of your videos, that you're getting them real quick with why you're here. Then we can look at content pillars. And so we always encourage businesses and organizations to set up content pillars. What do you want to be saying to people, and how often are you going to say it? And they really kind of fall into these themes. There's 4 traditional ones: entertainment, education, inspiration, and promotion. We like to throw in community because it is all about community. And that's the great thing about the current algorithms, is that the more you are collaborating and tagging other other organizations and other businesses, the higher you're showing up in the algorithm. So actually taking the time to do a video with a community partner is going to help make a stronger reel. But you'll notice here entertainment, education, inspiration, and promotion. Promotion should be only a fourth of what you're doing. Otherwise, you should be giving people important information, helpful information that is going to lead them to your organization, to your business. And ideally, everything should be entertaining. So if you can double dip and be entertaining and educational, or entertaining and inspirational, that's a great way to think about the content of your reel. And then the most important thing is don't forget a call to action. If you're going to take the time to create content, it should have a clear call to action. It can be as simple as learn more, or come see us, or check out this sale. Whatever it is, you want to give people a way to interact. And that call to action should be on every bit of content that you create, whether that's video content, written content, an ad. Everything should always have a call to action. So we've got lots of different types of reels right now. These are some of the ones that are doing the best. There are a lot of trends out there. I won't click in and show you these reels. I was having a hard time making the audio work, but when you get the slide deck, you can click in and take a look. So behind the scenes videos are doing super well right now. People love to see behind the scenes of what you're doing. When I talk with new businesses, I tell them they always feel like they don't have enough content to put out when they're just getting started. You have a ton of content to put out because you can tell your behind the scenes story of starting your business. So people love to see transformation videos. The one from the bookseller is a great example of a transformation video that is also timely. So they are using, it was around Halloween. It was how they transformed the bookshop from before Halloween to their Halloween decoration. It used trending music. But that transformation, that before and after, people love that. And so for a new business, for a startup, showing what it's like as you're moving into the space. Maybe you're opening a bakery and you're having new equipment placed in, doing a time lapse video of that, of that equipment coming in, that before and after. The reel from Tumbling Creek Cider is the one I mentioned. It's a little long, but we kept it in here because it has such great and unique shots. It's a good example of if you're really struggling on how to do creative videography, this is a good example of how you can try to emulate that. So to watch one of the shots and see if you can recreate it. That's a great way to expand your skill set with taking video. And we'll talk a bit more about how to take good video here in a minute. But it shows them harvesting apples. And who doesn't love to see that? Tips and tricks always do really well. So people love a checklist. So if you can have like the top 5 tips and tricks for X, Y, and Z. So you're tying two things there, tips and tricks with a countdown or a list. People love a listicle. And then FAQs. This is a timeless way to create content. Creating a reel is a great example of content marketing. One of my favorite examples, which is getting old, but it's the very first example that I got about content marketing, and it was in 2008. So after the economy crashed in '08, I was sitting in a workshop and the lady was talking about a business owner who owned a pool and spa business. And he was getting very down on slow business. It wasn't like COVID. Everybody bought a pool or spa during COVID. People were not spending that kind of money during the '08 recession. So he was thinking about closing up shop, and somebody said, why don't you start creating content based on the questions that you get from your customers? And so at that point, he started writing blogs. And so he made a list of all the questions that people would ask. And so he started writing blogs about how do I know if my yard is good for an above ground pool or a below ground pool? How do I know if I want a traditional spa or a swim spa? And so he started to see his traffic to his website increase. And then guess what? When the economy came back up, he had all kinds of people ready to put in a pool because he had been helping them plan all along and dream about what they would do when things got better. So that's a good example of how to use those frequently asked questions. This is also a great way to fix challenges. Sometimes we talk to business owners, and maybe you are in a tucked away corner of a downtown district. So you're on a little side street, you're still downtown, but maybe you don't have the best parking, or you're not as visible as somebody on Main Street. Doing a reel about literally where you're located can help with challenges that you might be seeing. So, or if you have bad parking, here's like literally showing people where to park, standing on the street, saying, hey, if you're coming to see us, here's a great place to park. Here's everything you need to know about getting to us. So, thinking about those challenges that you may be having, turning those into opportunities for video content. The best thing is you have a camera in your pocket. You do not need fancy camera equipment. If you have it, great, use it. I hope you use it because I got rid of my digital camera because I wasn't using it. So use what you have, but if you have a phone, you can do video. So there's some easy things that you can do to make sure that you're taking good video content. One is to know your phone. That is like the number one thing that we realize with folks is that we get a phone and we just point and click on things, but there are all kinds of settings on your phone, especially if you have an iPhone or if you have a Pixel. The Pixels are very strong with their camera as well. So there are settings to increase the quality from HD to 4K. Things like that can make all the difference on your settings on your phone. And we're going to talk about principles here in a minute. There's some settings on your phone where you can turn on the grid to help you use these principles well. So that's the other thing is we'll talk about this in a second, but understanding the principles, picking up some helpful equipment, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then just practicing. That is the biggest thing is actually just getting out there and practicing. And other than storage on your phone and the time it takes to practice, you're not out very much. And if you've got bad video, just delete it. It's okay. You don't have to have a phone with huge storage. So there are some low budget tools that you can pick up. All of this equipment is under $100, and for most of it, you can get altogether under $200. But just a little bit of equipment goes a long way, especially with videography, and a lot of this can be used for photography work as well. So one, a tripod. Bonus points if you just go ahead and get a light ring because that's going to give you a light source as well. But stabilization is huge with the video. You don't want shaky video. Again, we're talking 15 to 30 seconds here. So you don't have to get a lot of content, but you need to get solid quality content. So a tripod will help you with that. If you don't have a tripod or if you're out and about, maybe you're in your store and something great is happening, literally lean up against something. Hold your body steady and you can become your own tripod. Use a book, use something you have around you to steady yourself. An external light source can be very helpful. So again, a light ring. This can also be a well-placed desk lamp. So take the things that you have, move them around, and likely you'll find a light source. And if you don't have external lighting equipment, natural light is all that matters. So just the room I'm sitting in right now has great natural light. I didn't turn on any overhead light, and I intentionally placed myself in front of a window so that I'm being lit well. So I could show you what that looks like. So it's literally just playing around with your camera. Actually get your camera out, look and see what the light does. Think if you've ever had a professional photography professional photography session, you'll notice that before the photographer does anything, they're testing the light. So do the same thing with your video. If you're doing product photography, a light box can be really helpful. And those, like the one that's shown here, usually come with a light source. It literally folds down. You can pop it up. It's like a little pop-up tent, and you can plug it in and set things inside of it. This helps as well with photography. So you can video your things, but you also can shoot photo with this as well. And then for video, a microphone. If you're not going to purchase any of this, at least purchase a microphone with a windscreen. It can be, this one is a wired one, but you can buy Bluetooth ones now. They work with just about any device. And this is going to ensure that you have high quality audio, whether you are inside or outside. Even the least expensive of these microphones with a windscreen can cut down wind noise. Don't rely just on your phone. Our phones are getting so much better with the microphones, but they're not there yet. A lot of the noise is being reduced, but it's still there. And then for editing, you don't have to go big budget either. You don't have to have Adobe Creative Cloud. This is not a paid Canva advertisement. We've just realized that Canva is a great way for small teams to not only manage their brand, but to do just about any kind of collateral that they need for their brand. So Canva Pro is under $200 a year. That gets you a lot of extras, sound, B-roll. Take a look at that here in a little bit. But even on the free version, there's a lot that you can do video editing wise. And then your in-app editors. We won't dive in and look at the back end of Instagram today, but you can actually edit your video right in Facebook, right in Instagram. We'll talk about music here in a minute, but for the most part, you can do everything you need either in the in-app editor or in Canva. So the basics, I always like to start with the foundation. And this applies to both photography and videography, but it's the rule of thirds. So we like we like odd numbers. We find odd numbers visually pleasing. So if you're hanging a gallery wall of photos in your house, you want to be using odd numbers. So 3, 5, 7. So the rule of thirds plays really well in what we're trying to do. How many of you have this grid turned on your camera? Most people don't. Some people do. You can turn this on so you can actually see this grid when you are on your phone. But the principle is that you want to be placing everything in thirds. It is actually very difficult to shoot something and have it be dead center. So if you've seen there was a trend for a while of the reels where it was a lady walking in front with her hand behind, like she was pulling somebody along and they were in a picturesque, with a waterfall in front of them or something like that. And she was dead center. Those are actually very difficult to shoot. So following the rule of thirds makes things a lot easier. And your goal is to have everything kind of placed into the thirds. And here's a real world picture of what this can look like. And so you can see you have the horizon of the ocean on the top of the third, horizontal third. You have her feet kind of sitting on the bottom horizontal third. And then on the vertical thirds, you have the little girl on the right. And then you have it kind of balanced with left, and the girl balanced on the right with the seaweed. And then you have it kind of also balanced top to bottom with the dark clouds and with the darkness of the sand and the seaweed. And so again, she's not dead center, which is counterintuitive to what we think when we pull out our phones to take a picture. But by actually composing your video or your photo, you're going to inherently take higher quality shots. I don't know how many people have actually done black and white photography. I took black and white photography in high school and in college. And if you've ever had to develop your own film and crop and edit your own film, you instinctually plan your shot before you do it because it is a pain to do it in post editing. And that's the one thing the digital world has given us is this idea of, oh, I can just shoot and shoot and shoot and I'll deal with it in post production. That is very time consuming. So just taking the extra couple of seconds to frame your shot well to start is going to make your life so much better when you go to edit. Some tips and tricks with your phone. Framing your shot, which I just talked about. I think I scooped myself a lot with this slide. Take more than one shot. You don't have to take a ton, but take more than one, especially when you're doing videography. You're going to need that B-roll. So, one tip that I love to give to people if you're doing an interview style video, so maybe you're standing talking about an event that's happening, you're doing a live about your event, and you're standing at the ticketing booth and talking about it, make sure that you take video at the front and at the back of the interview. So it's going to feel awkward, but have that person stand there, record 3 or 4 seconds, maybe even 5 or 6 seconds of them just standing there at the beginning. Let them talk. It is better to kind of, I call it Martin Scorseseing it. You want to do it all in one shot. Martin Scorsese is very famous for his like the longest shot in cinema is in Goodfellas when they go from the street down through the kitchens of the club and then up to the club floor. If you ever want to watch that, that is the longest single shot scene in a movie. But you want to get it, if you, especially with interviews, you want to get it all in one shot. It's very difficult to edit transitions in an interview. But so you have that person stand there, get a few seconds, have them talk, and then have them stand there for an awkward amount of time afterwards without moving. And that's going to give you enough time to put your transitions into your video. So you're not going to have to worry about, you play around with your transitions and do more fun transitions because you have the B-roll to put over top of it. Take photos from in your videos from a different perspective. How many of you have kids in your life and they have taken your phone and you get your phone back and you're like, oh my God, that was such a great photo? It's because they're shorter than all of us and they are taking photos and videos at a completely different perspective. So get low, get high, stand on top of something, step up on a stool, kneel down, lay down on the ground, and you're going to have more creative shots just from choosing a different perspective. Get close. Don't rely on Zoom. Zoom, again, is getting much better on our camera phones, but it's better just to get close to somebody or get close to your subject rather than rely on Zoom to get what you need. You can play with your shutter speeds. That's another setting on your phone. Just like a digital camera, you can slow down your shutter speeds. This is a fun one to play with when you're at the beach. You can play with it with your video and with your photography, but slow the shutter speeds, and that's how you get that really beautiful shot where Myrtle Beach all of a sudden just looks like it's the Caribbean because the water is just so smooth. That's a great way to play with the shutter speeds. I talked about stabilizing your phone using natural light. And again, casual is okay. It's that authentic content that really resonates with people. So even if you mess up with what you're doing or you stutter on something, that is going to be a much better content than something that's highly polished. All right. So you've planned, you've prepped, you have your equipment. Now, how do you make a reel? So, one thing we always like to remind people about is staying organized. There is nothing worse than planning everything out, getting your video content, and then you sit down at your computer and like, I'm going to make a reel, or sit on your phone, I'm going to make a reel, and you can't find the video you're looking for. You can't find the photo that you're going to add into the reel. So think through how you're organizing everything and think through if you're a team of one or a team of many, how is everybody going to have access to that content? Again, that's one reason why we like Canva. Because Canva is a great place to collaborate as a team and you can use it for your file storage. But you might be using Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox. You might be using Adobe and you have your files living in the cloud. If it's just on your device, that's okay, but just make sure you know which device it's on. Were you using your phone or were you on a tablet? Some people have, paying for Google Photos or Amazon. Again, think through your tech stack and where it makes the most sense for you to be organizing your video content. Also, if you have taken a time to do what we call a content harvest, this is something great to do quarterly, especially seasonally, and that is just getting new photo and video. If you take the time to do that, it could just be a half day or just a couple of hours. Make sure you organize that when you're done. So you could do some light editing or just even naming your files. Maybe you are a Main Street manager and you're taking new video of your downtown district. And you want to, name things by the business that's in there, or say that this is a great shot of the theater or the art gallery or the ice cream shop, and start organizing those. So when you go to make a reel and you say, "Oh, I want to put that in there," you know exactly where it's at. This is another one that's very important since we have lots of different folks on the call today. Making sure that you have permission to share, especially with videography. We do have this implied reality that if you're out in public, you're going to be on video. I mean, you can hardly walk down the street right now without somebody's door camera catching you walking your dog. So it is there, but we are also becoming hyper aware of how our images are being used, especially with AI. So it never hurts to ask. Always make sure that you are getting waivers. It can, if you're capturing an event, you can have that as part of your ticketing. So that's really popular is when somebody purchases a ticket, you can actually have in the agreement to purchase the ticket that you know that there will be photography and videography at the event. You can have a sign at the very front. We tend to follow Virginia Tourism's rules. They're very strict. If you can clearly see somebody's face, you need a waiver. So a great example is, let's say you're at a festival, you're shooting a bunch of video, and you're getting a great crowd shot, mostly the backs of people's heads. Maybe there's somebody turned around, but you're getting a shot of the band that's on the stage, big wide crowd shot. And then maybe you're walking down the area where all the food trucks are, and you're getting kind of people walking through, ordering food. But then you capture somebody handing a vendor handing an ice cream cone to a little kid. Who do you need the waiver for? You need the waiver for the vendor who's handing the ice cream cone, and then you need a waiver for the kid. And since they're a kid, you need their parent's signature. So again, if that's a great rule of thumb, if you can clearly see somebody's face, you need to get a waiver for what you're doing. It's a little different when you're a small business or somebody of user-generated content. We see a lot of that sharing out. People make reels because they want them to be seen and to be shared. So maybe you're a small business and somebody does a really great unboxing video. That's another trend that is moving away from trend and becoming a thing that we just really like with reels. So maybe it's an unboxing video and somebody posts it and tags you. Ask for permission to share it. Shoot them a message and say, "Hey, I saw your unboxing video of X, Y, and Z product. Do you mind if I share it with a credit?" We love to use the little camera icon as a way to credit people. And then if you're doing a professional shoot, so maybe you're grabbing content and you're doing a professional shoot that you're paying for, always get waivers. Ensure that you own the images at the end of your project. So when you're working with a vendor, make sure you ask them exactly what they get, what you get from it. If it's photography, they may say that you get 20 edited images. If it's videography, they may say that you just get the videos and that's it. But you can always ask for B-roll and raw images. They may charge you a bit more for that, but it never hurts to ask, and make sure that you're getting what you need and that you're getting extra content. Because if you're taking the time to pay for a shoot, you want to make sure you're getting the absolute most out of it that you possibly can. That's also a good time just to be floating around and taking your own behind the scenes stuff. So when we're doing a professional shoot, we love to get video and photography of the team actually doing the work because people like to see that behind the scenes. And then check your funding requirements. If you are like a tourism related business or organization and you're getting VTC funds, they may require you to send that B-roll to them. So make sure that you know what you're paying. When you're paying for something, make sure you know what the funding requirements are if you are not self-funding it. All right. So, in the description of today's session, we talked about CapCut. And since we put this session together, some things have changed. So, we wanted to make you aware of some issues that are going on around CapCut. If you are using, it's totally up to you if you want to use it. But if you are using CapCut for editing, you want to make sure that you understand that you are surrendering your content to their parent company, which is ByteDance. That in perpetuity, they have access to that content and it can be used however they would like to use it. So you're giving permission by just by using the app to them using your face, your likeness without compensation or consent. And that's something you're signing up for when you are logging into that app. There is a bit of a privacy and legal risk. The app is collecting extensive user data, which a lot of the things that we are using are collecting extensive data, but you're putting up some more sensitive content when you're putting your video content into something. So some actionable advice to protect your brand's proprietary content, avoid using CapCut. If there's something cool that you want to do in there and you're not worried about it, go ahead and use it. But you can rely on tools like Canva and those platform native editors to help you retain control of your own assets. So that's why we're not showing CapCut today. We will get in here and get into Canva, and I will show you how to start a reel, what you're looking for to do it. And if you have any specific challenges, feel free to unmute. I can't see the chat now that I've clicked over to Canva, and we can address those challenges. I when you guys get the video at the end, you'll have my email address. I'm happy to answer questions that come through. So this is what your home screen of Canva looks like. Let's see what we got in the chat here. How to time lapse limit when you're, yes. So Jean, are you asking how to make sure that your reel is 30 seconds or less? Okay, good deal. Yeah, I can show you all that. So this is your home screen of Canva, and we are making a video. So we will click on video. The great thing about Canva is that is a lot of user-generated content, but for the most part, it is very accurate with the right size of things. So today, let's say that we're making an Instagram reel. And this size works on a lot of things. The other thing too is that when you are using Canva Pro, you can quickly resize the work that you've done as well. So if you need it to change for something else or just have a slight change, but for the most part, for reels, this vertical rectangle is what you're looking for in a reel. Horizontal video is better for long form video. You want to be using that on YouTube. You want to be using that on your website. Something that's become super popular in the work that we do is we may do a long form kind of sizzle video that interests, like, here's who we are and what we do kind of video. But then we include a handful of reels as shortcuts from that. So you can do that larger video content and then go back and edit it to be horizontal. Since we are heading into the holidays, let's make a holiday themed video. I want to show you there are so many great templates out there. And Canva has a lot of ones that are very good for a mix of videography and photography. So as you're getting started, this may be a way to go. And so the one I'm hovering over here is showing you what it looks like. It starts off with a little bit of video and then goes into photography. So you can always mix the two in here. This kind of reel is super popular right now where it's got the three tiers. Sometimes you see a full video behind it in the middle section, but this one has been super popular. And then you have ones in here, again, this one is just photography with some interesting transitions. So just know that you can mix and match what you're doing. But for today, we will start with just a blank slate. We'll go into elements. So I don't have any video to show, but let's say that we are a small business and we are going to be doing a video about cookies and a picture with Santa kind of event. So we're going to go to video. And so the great thing is you may be able, if once you've created your content, you'll upload it, but you can also use the B-roll to fill in some gaps if you need to. So let's just look and see what we have for Santa. got some animation things. I don't know if we're going to have exactly what I was looking for here. But you can hover over and see a little preview. Let's grab this one to work with. You'll see that it is coming in as horizontal. You can edit your video to be vertical, but that doesn't always work necessarily, right? And so now we have this a very huge Christmas ornament. But you can go in and you can search for B-roll video that is actually vertical. So let's just throw this up here for time's sake. I know we're getting towards the end of time. But you'll see once you have your video onto the artboard, you can do all sorts of editing to it. You can resize it. You could shorten it. You can add color backgrounds. And then just like any video editor, you're going to actually get what you need to edit. And so this looks really similar to just about any video editor. It's just kind of like website editing. Once you've used one, you've used many of them. You can get in here and edit. You can remove backgrounds. You can add effects. You can change filters. You can update your video speed. So if you want something to slow down a bit, you can work through all of these. You also can cut. And so let's see, I just literally cut and made a second thing. You can add in more video, more photography, a blank slate if you wanted to add words. And so all of these things get added onto it, and you're building layers. So think about this as a layer. And then once you have your layers where you want it, here's where you can add transitions in. You can add audio. Canva has a ton of audio options for you to add in. One thing we have noticed, it's interesting, even though Facebook and Instagram is both owned by Meta, Instagram has tighter restrictions when it comes to audio. Instagram is still seen as a creator's platform, and so they are a little tighter on creative controls. So one thing we've noticed is that you may do a reel and you may post it to Instagram and Facebook, but the audio might get stripped out of it on Instagram. One way to attack that would be to do all of your editing in Canva, but then upload it to the native editor and actually add the audio at the end in Instagram. So that's one way to work through that. Jean, your question about timings, you can see this is at 24 seconds. This is how you would cut and make your video shorter. So you can work through and drag and drop and edit to get to that, but it's going to show you all the way through what your timing is. Some other cool features about Canva with sound. Once you add in, I'll just throw something in here. Once you add in sound, one of their AI features is called beat sync. And so if you have something that has a lot of beats to it and a lot of measurement to it, and you have a slightly longer video that has a lot of movement, you can actually sync your video and your transitions to match the beat of the music that you put with it. And so that's a great way to feel like you have some up and down movement in what you got going on. All right. Any questions? I know my computer is going a little slow in Canva, so please feel free to send me questions since I'm not able to show as well as I would like to today. Well, I will go back to our presentation and close us out with my email address. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, anything that you are working on with Reels. We're also happy to take a look. So if you've made something and you feel like it's just a little off, feel free to send it to us. We'd be happy to take a look for you.
Will you all, where will this video be shared? I got called away for a minute, so I missed the whole reel thing in Canva.
It'll be on YouTube, right, Mark?
Right. It's on
Yep.
our YouTube channel. So just check for New Knowledge at
Okay.
be right there. So any other questions for Alex?
Amanda, I'll also, once I get, probably later today or tomorrow, I'll be emailing the presentation, also a link to the YouTube, so you can just click on the link and watch it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Gina is our resident editor, so glad she's doing that to help us out. So
And Jean does her editing in Canva as well.
she does.
And
Right.
Canva has a ton of resources, and just about anything. A YouTube University is real. So if you are struggling with an editing thing or something you want to see, or you see a reel that you really like and you want to emulate that style, search it, because you'll probably find somebody who's going to show you how to do that editing style or how to do what you're looking for. But 9 times out of 10, if there's something you want to do in a video editor, I bet it can do it. It just might be something you'll have to teach yourself how to do.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alex, CEO of Letterpress Communications. She always does such a great job, and I'm always excited when she's going to do a program for us, because I know I'm going to learn a lot from it as well. So thank you for that great information. It is a very timely topic for sure. So our next program will be January 7th at noon, also brought to us by the good folks at Letterpress Communication. Another timely topic, AI is here, how to use AI in your marketing today. So as always, you can review our catalog of prior New Knowledge programs on our YouTube channel. And we'd like to thank our partners here here at the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, which includes the town of Abingdon, Washington County, and the Washington County Chamber of Commerce. So if you have questions about our programs or suggestions for programs, certainly let us know, and we'll be happy to try to schedule programs that you'd like to see. So, all right, if there's nothing else, we want to thank everybody, and I hope you have a good day.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Alex. See you soon.
Thanks, Alex.
See ya.